Have you heard of the Elmhurst Heritage Foundation? Its purpose is to provide support through advocacy, education, and fundraising for the Elmhurst History Museum, our local Elmhurst history, and the Churchville one-room schoolhouse. Established in 2007 as a nonprofit organization, we initiated an endowment fund and raised funds to complete the renovation of the historic Churchville schoolhouse. We conducted a capital campaign to develop the new exhibit, by all accounts, the story of Elmhurst, at the History Museum, and we continue to provide financial support to enhance exhibits, programs, and events at the museum. Yes, we feel strongly about our mission and encourage you to become a member or donor of the Elmhurst Heritage Foundation. Please call or go to our website for more information to learn about the benefits of becoming a member or donor by investing in our town, our history, our heritage.
Welcome to Elmhurst Time Travelers. I'm Ken Bartels, your host, and we're in the historic Churchville Schoolhouse to talk about the Elmhurst American Legion. And to do that, we have Al Bertolani and Bob Laramie, both of the Legion, and both served in the Army, I understand, probably not together. But that's my first question, actually, as we start out our time together this afternoon, is where did you serve? Bob?
I was drafted and went down to Fort Campbell, Kentucky for my basic training, and got assigned for military police training and went to Fort Gordon, Georgia. And after that, they assigned me to West Point Military Academy in New York, where I spent the next year and a half guarding the cadets.
Guarding the cadets. That probably was pretty interesting duty. Al?
I was drafted in October 28th, 1970, and I did my basic training in Fort Lewis in Washington, down by Seattle. And I was awarded a civilian MOS, and I was sent to Fort Eustis, Virginia. And I was there for about 10 months, and I was levied to Frankfurt, Germany. And I spent the rest of my tour in Frankfurt, Germany.
Now, you both mentioned the draft, which of course is old school, but the draft in the late 70s, or early 70s rather, was a pretty big deal. We were just talking actually before we went on air about the time that you were getting involved with your military service and the protests and the whole tenor of the country at that point in time. How did that affect your service? How did you feel about that? Going in when a whole bunch of folks were saying, "I'm not going."
It wasn't a case like you were thinking, what would they do to me if I didn't go? I had a student deferment for a few years, but then when I stopped school, my draft number was low enough that I knew I'd be going soon, and I got drafted in April of 70. So it was a case of, that's when a lot of folks were in there. It seemed like our group was a lot of people that were older, not just young kids being 18 or 19. It was more of a college or just out of college group of people that have graduated. So it was a much older crew than what might have been there earlier on in the draft.
Al, what's your memory of that time?
Well, there was a few older ones in the bunch that I went to basic training with. There was probably maybe 10% of them were closer to my age, which I was almost 26. There was 24 and 25 years old, and the rest of them were all 18 or 19. And so it was kind of a mix, and I didn't think too much of it. I had a brother that was a year older than me to the day, and he volunteered when he was 17, so he'd already been out of the service almost 8 years when I got drafted. So it was kind of silly situation to some extent, and I don't know, I figured I was going to go. I was going to do it. And I was very fortunate that I was awarded an MOS because in the group, the company that I was in, when I was in basic training, there was only about maybe 10% that didn't go right into AIT training right at Fort Lewis, Washington, into the infantry. And that was a one-way ticket to Vietnam. And I guess they needed numbers over there, and that's what they were doing. So, but like I said, I was fortunate. I was awarded a civilian MOS, and I was sent to Fort Eustis, Virginia, to work on the railroad there. They had a military railroad in Fort Eustis, Virginia, and I had been working on the railroad 5 years previous to that. So that's where they sent me, to work on the railroad there. And as it turned out, when I got there, I was processing in, and they said, "Oh, you had some college." I said, "Yeah, I had a little, but I didn't do very good in college." They said, "Well, we need clerks." And I said, "Well," I said, "I want to go work on the railroad, so I know what I'm doing." And they said, "Guess what?" I said, "What? You're staying right here."
Yeah, guess what? We've got other ideas. We've got other ideas for your service.
They made me a clerk right then, and that's what I did for 10 months. I worked in admitting all the new people that came into the Fort Eustis, Virginia, to that particular compound, and I processed them in. I was what they call the 201 clerk. I took care of all the processing in and updating their files. That was what my duty was there.
So, how long have both of you been involved with the American Legion?
I've been active over there, a member for 21 years, and it's mainly since retirement that gives me more time to be over there, probably almost 5 days a week sometimes.
I want to find out what you're over there 5 days a week doing, but Al, when did you get involved?
I've been a member for 32 years. A friend of mine's dad, who was a veteran, a Second World War veteran, encouraged myself and his son-in-law, who had already joined prior to that, Clarence Jason, and he encouraged me to join, and I joined, but I wasn't active until 1993. In 1990, my son went off to college, and he was awarded a scholarship from the Elmhurst American Legion. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was something. It sure helped out. He went to the University of Illinois, and it helped out me financially because I was footing the bill.
Sure, absolutely.
And my wife got active in about 1990 in the auxiliary. And in '93, she was the president of the Elmhurst Auxiliary. She became president, and at the same time, I went to her installation, and Rudy Martino became the commander in that particular year, and he says, "What are you doing?" He said, "From now on, you're going to be more active." And he kind of just latched on to me and says, "Here, I got this for you to do. I got that for you to do."
How old is the Legion in Elmhurst? When was it
The Elmhurst Legion is one of the oldest legions in the United States. It had a temporary charter in 1919, shortly after the Elmhurst or the American Legion was formed nationally.
Well, and of course, that's right after World War I. I know the Memorial Day Parade itself dates back to 1918, coming up on 100 years in a very short period of time. So everything sort of happened about that same period in terms of the Legion.
You know, our first Legion home was in downtown Elmhurst. I think it was on York.
Yeah, the 200 block on York. 200
block
south
on
York.
on York, and that was our permanent home for the late '50s, I think, and then we moved to the site we're on now,
On Butterfield.
On Butterfield, yeah.
That would have been when in the
Late 50s, 57, 58.
Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
that building. The building you're in doesn't date to that
No,
time.
our post home, we had a fire in 1985, and it burned to the ground, or it was completely destroyed. And we rebuilt 2 years later, I think in '87, late '87, early '88.
So you were in downtown Elmhurst originally, and of course the VFW before it went away wasn't very far away. I know that was on Addison.
Yeah, that was on that. It wasn't that far. I wasn't. Of course, I wasn't even out in this part of the country or this part of the state when it was in them years. I didn't move out to Elmhurst. I didn't move into Elmhurst until '74.
Well, for the benefit of our cable television audience, who is eligible to join the American Legion? And I don't mean, I know there's sons of veterans and there's other classifications, but actual membership, who's eligible to join?
You have to be you had to be a member of the United States Armed Forces, which is the force, the Navy, the Army,
Right.
the Marines, and the Coast Guard. And when they had the Merchant Marines and the Air Force, well, they still have the Air Force, but they're also eligible.
And specific
There's specific
dates.
periods of
So,
time
right.
during wars. World War I, there were certain dates from the start to the finish. World War II, Vietnam, then it went up to Panama and Grenada after that. And I think lately the ones have been open ever since all of
the whole
all of the conflicts in Desert Storm
and the war on terror.
yes.
And so it's kind of been open since that point.
Right.
Well, I could give you the dates actually.
Absolutely.
World War I was April 6th, 1917 to November 11th, 1918. That's
Probably
enough.
not getting a lot of those guys signing up right
We
now.
had one, believe it or not, we had a World War I member until I think it was about 11 months ago he passed away.
Yeah.
About 11 months ago he passed away. We still had a World War I member, and World War II is December 7th, 1941 to December 31st, 1946. And we still have, our biggest membership is still World War II vets, our number-wise. But of course, they're all, the youngest you could be is right now is about 88 years old to be in that.
Be a World War II vet.
Yeah.
Be a certified World War II vet. And we do have quite a few World War II veterans that are still members in the Elmhurst American Legion and nationally. And then the Korean War was from June 25th, 1950 to January 31st, 1955. Korean War or Korean conflict.
Right.
And then then we went a time where even though you're a veteran, you're not eligible for the American Legion as a full member. And the next period was from February 28, 1961. So you went from 55 to 61, which is 11 years, where people that are veterans aren't eligible to be full members of the American Legion, which, for years we've been trying to rectify
Get that changed.
but it's been very difficult. And the Vietnam era goes from 61 till May 7th, 1975. And we have another Lebanon and Grenada from August 24th, 82 to July 31st, 84. And then there's a Panama conflict, and that was from December 20, 89 to January 31st to 90. And the Gulf War went, and there's a 6-month interview in there from January to August till the present, August 2nd, 1990. And anybody that's been in the military from August 2nd, 1990 till present is eligible. Because we've been in our troops been involved in some conflict or in hostile territories.
Sure. And how many members are in the Legion currently in Elmhurst? Round numbers.
We've got just over 500.
500
just
members.
Over 500, right.
Well, there's 500 full members,
Right.
qualified members. Then we have approximately 110 Sons of the American Legion and about 150 auxiliary members.
So it's not only one of the oldest, I would guess it's one of the more robust chapters around.
Well, down southern Illinois has some posts that have better memberships than us, and even out west, I think Batavia's got a strong membership in their particular.
Okay.
But otherwise, for years, Elmhurst had the largest membership in the American Legion, except for down in southern Illinois, where some of them posts they encompassed a bigger area, and it was the only form of entertainment, or anywhere somebody could go for entertainment. It was a kind of a central meeting place where there was. They had an advantage there because around here now we compete with everybody for a form of entertainment or for a form of socializing.
That's a good spot to take our break. And when we come back, I want to talk about what's going on at the Legion now and what it is that not only the two of you do, but in general, special events, and how the community can get more involved. This is Elmhurst Time Travelers. We're talking about the Elmhurst American Legion, and we'll be right back.
Have you visited the Elmhurst Public Library lately? The Kids Library is a wonderful place. When not being used for library programs and classes, Elmhurst Public Library cardholders can reserve the meeting rooms. The second floor is where you can find the adult and teen collections. An enclosed area devoted to high school students provides space to create, play, share, and study together. Use our computers or bring your own to our work-friendly business center. Technology classes for all expertise levels are taught in the computer lab. High-quality audio and visual equipment in the Creative Studio gives you the opportunity to create, record, make, and invent. You can produce real items with the 3D printer and poster printer. Study rooms provide space for studying on your own or working with others. The larger gathering room is available to reserve by Elmhurst Public Library cardholders. Our convenient book drop and drive-up window make picking up and returning library materials a breeze. Don't forget, Elmhurst Public Library is always open online at elmhurstpubliclibrary.org.
Welcome back. This is Elmhurst Time Travelers. We're talking about the Elmhurst American Legion. And Al, I wanted to ask you first, what goes on at the Legion these days? I mean, people certainly in Elmhurst are familiar with where it is on Butterfield Road, and they see the sign for the Normandy Room, and I know every once in a while, well, regularly, karaoke and bingo and whatever, but what about the Legion itself? What does it get involved with?
Well, we've been doing scholarships for the last, almost since the beginning of it, I guess, but certainly since the 80s, I know we've been doing scholarships. And since I've been involved, we've been given college scholarships award, both us and the auxiliary. And we've been doing community service. When we were financially able to and when things were better financially, we donated to all the organizations in the Elmhurst area. We to pads, to food baskets, Ray Graham, the Heart Association, the Cancer Foundation, homeless vets. Every year we used to have a special for the veteran homes, Christmas in July. We were very active in all the community activities, the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. Of course, the parades.
Yep, the parades. Does the American Legion have any direct connection to the honor flights that go in and out? Are you involved with that at all? The Legion itself.
We have.
Some of the members
Some of the members
have gone on the honor flights.
Okay.
So that's when
Yeah, it's not a Legion program, but
No, it's not.
there's certainly people that get involved.
Right.
Yeah, we
right.
have donated money to the
Yeah.
honor
Sure.
flights and over the past, and like Bob said, our membership was. A lot of our members have been on the honor flight, especially World War II. Well,
Yeah.
but they were all World War II veterans. That
Well, I
go
know
on.
you were an MP rather at West Point,
Yes.
but I see Honor Guard on your lapel You're involved with the Honor Guard
Yes,
that
I
we
am.
see so regularly in parades and a whole bunch of
And
other
we
places?
do funerals and wakes. We do
Okay.
we have a
Certainly.
we have a service that we do that we provide for anybody, and you don't have to be a Legion member, just a veteran, and we provide the veterans our ceremony for the deceased veteran.
Bob, how are you involved? What are you doing?
I'm over there quite often, setting up for the parties or events, or getting everything ready for bingo, working bingo on Wednesday nights, getting ready for parties the next day. They're setting up for fish fry and cooking on Friday nights for fish fry.
Okay. 500 members, which I'm guessing would surprise most people in terms of the membership.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a number that would surprise a lot of people. That said, how do you go about recruiting members? Is it word of mouth? Is it active recruitment in some other way? How do you go about? You're going to have to change that dynamic, obviously.
Yeah,
The World War II vets, unfortunately, aren't going to all be around much longer. So how do you go about getting new members?
It's mainly just word of mouth.
Okay.
Talking to folks that have, oh, you were a veteran? Because now you talk to a lot of people and they weren't even in the Army. You know,
Right.
it's like not even half of the people that you talk to nowadays were even in the service.
Well,
so.
with the disappearance of the draft and the all-volunteer
Right.
military, I mean, there are still an awful lot of people in the military, but it's not the same dynamic, I
Right.
don't think.
Well, it's mostly now. Part of it is we have professional Army, Air Force, Marines,
Right.
and they stay in it longer. They're not in and out, so
Sure.
they're not readily available to recruit, which is a little hard. We do have an active recruiting program, and we have what they call a 1090, and that's a member that's belongs to the American Legion but doesn't belong to any particular vote. And anybody that's in the immediate area, we try to recruit them, and that's done. The county helps with that, and our division.
Yeah, and I mean, the people in Elmhurst not only are aware of where it is, but they see you in the parades. They perhaps have been to the Veterans Day ceremonies or the Memorial Day ceremonies in Wilder Park. The Veterans Memorial itself was funded with private donations from the people of Elmhurst. So there's certainly always been a high awareness, and of course, anything that dates back nearly 100 years obviously has some staying power. At the same time, in relatively recent months, there's certainly been a lot of press about the Legion being somewhat strapped financially to be able to continue on. And I'm just wondering what both of you think about how people in Elmhurst can help the American Legion. How can the average citizen help the American Legion?
Well, they could support us. We have a lunch program, a professional chef that
You can go eat lunch there.
Lunch is lunch. We have and we're open to the public, the general public, not just members or people that are associated with the Legion, directly or indirectly. It's open to the public. We have a lunch from 11 to 2 every day, 5 days a week. And we have events like this Saturday, we have a St. Patrick's fundraiser. And
Okay.
we're going to have, from the Trinity Irish Dancers are going to be there to perform. It starts at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's March 12th. In the evening, I should say not afternoon, but 5 o'clock in the evening. We'll be seating people, and then at 6, the Trinity Irish Dancers are going to perform. And as soon as they're done performing, we're going to serve typical St. Patrick's Day fare. We're going to have
Bob, you're going to be busy.
we're going to have corned beef and cabbage and new potatoes and carrots and dessert. So it's a pretty nice fare. It's reasonably priced, $20 a head, you know. And after Trinity dancers and after we eat, we're going to have entertainment. So it'd be dancing if you feel up to it.
So the general public can come in and avail themselves of lunch and other events. They can also rent the facilities, right? I mean,
Yes,
if I was going to throw a big party, I could rent the Normandy Hall.
They can probably hold close to 200 people
Okay.
in their big banquet room. And
it's nice space, too.
it's
I've been in
very
there
nice
many
space.
times.
Yeah, compared to your typical American Legion that you've seen someplace that looks more like a low ceiling and, you know, old paneling on the walls. It's decorated very nice.
Our banquet room is comparable to any banquet facility in the town of Elmhurst, or you know, the city of Elmhurst. It's compatible. It's very compatible or competitive to
Certainly.
and we also rent the bar room on Saturday evenings, which is a smaller, you know, for a smaller party, a christening or a small birthday party, but it'll hold up to about 80 people. And that's our main banquet room is rented during the week by meetings, but for banquets or weddings, it's available on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And the bar room's just available on Saturday evening and all day Sunday. So
Now, I was told by a couple of other members of the American Legion that I know well that, you know, the attendance at fish fries and even the lunches and whatnot has been on the upswing a little bit over the last few months.
in the last few months, so of course it's always on the upswing. At least fish fry is always on the upswing during Lent, of course. And we always do fairly well during Lent for the fish fry. But our other attendance has been up pretty good, and it seems to be getting more interest in the American Legion. For some reason, we are on the outskirts, and we're on the eastern section of the city, and we're a little bit. We're not in the downtown area, but we're in a nice area. I mean, we got our facility is very well upkept, and it's.
Well, you've got plenty of parking. You're easy to find. All of that, and as you said, the banquet facility itself is as well appointed as you would find. I've been told, and I know there's not a lot of details on this yet, but I understand in September 10th, there's going to be a military ball. And while I don't pretend to understand what that even means, perhaps one of you knows what a military ball will be like, because I know it's going to be open to the public. It's going to be a fundraiser.
Yeah, it's going to be a fundraiser. It's going to be kind of a fancy event. There's going to be, I think, Bill Shanklin is spearheading it.
Okay.
And it's going to be kind of an elegant affair on the upside, and he's going to have some pretty important people there and speakers, and it's just going to be kind of an upscale event is the only thing, the way that I could just describe it.
Well, September 10, we've got some months to get the details worked out and the publicity generated. I think the I'll go ahead and say the recognition, the service recognition throughout the country seems much higher than it did at certain other points. Recognition for servicemen and women for what they have done. Just seems to me that it's higher than it's been in a while. There's more awareness.
Since any war on terrorism brings out the patriotism with people, and then they start realizing that we do have a free country here, You know, many other countries don't have the freedoms that we have here, and we just shouldn't be taking it for granted. So that's why it's like leaving more respect for the people that have served, that fought for that freedom over the years, just to give it to us now.
I think that's,
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely true. I think people recognize that. And maybe it took something like the War on Terror, which essentially is a war on the homeland, to bring that into focus. If I'm at home and I'm watching this program and I want to know more about the Elmhurst American Legion, where do I go? What do I do? Website? There's a website.
Yeah, we do have a website, and we try to keep it updated. We do download our Sniper, which is our own publication. That it was monthly, and we cut it back to bi-monthly now. It has all our events that are coming up listed in it. It has our officers. It has numbers to call if you want, if there's a death of a veteran or for a memorial service. And it also has information for doing memorial services down at Weiler Park in it also, which is which actually the city is, you have to go through the city to book it, but it tells you how you could do it. And we do perform, the Elmhurst American Legion performs the service, but it's booked through the city itself. And for those who have never seen it, it's a very memorable service that's performed down there.
Well, Al and Bob, I thank you for joining me on Elmhurst Time Travelers. And obviously, the Legion is important to a lot of people. And if this program does anything, maybe it'll continue to raise that awareness and get some folks to come out and support your activities as well as the military ball. Now, here you go. I'm a veteran. I have never joined. There's not a single reason in the world why I haven't. So here it is. I'm joining right now. The form and everything else is in there that you need.
Wonderful.
And if there are other veterans in town watching this, they need to join too.
We've got the applications waiting for them.
All right.
Yeah, no, you could call the Legion anytime, and our employees that are there will take the information, and if you needed a form sent to you, we sure will send you one.
Well, hopefully more will join up. So, thank you both.
Thank you.
For your service and for what you're doing today.
And thank you.
This has been Elmhurst Time Travelers. I'm Ken Bartels. We've been talking about the Elmhurst American Legion. Get out and support them, and we'll see you again.
I'm Linda Hallman, Executive Director of the American Association of University Women, or AAUW. Since our founding in 1881, women have made great strides toward equality, but we are still fighting for a fair chance. AAUW empowers women by providing educational funding, advocating for laws that are fair, protecting those facing discrimination, researching issues important to women and families, and teaching women and girls to be leaders. AAUW has supported the education of thousands of brilliant women, some of whom have become astronauts, authors, inventors, newscasters, and high-level presidential advisors. Marie Curie, Rachel Carson, Melissa Harris Perry, Dr. Joyce Brothers. These are just a few of the notable women whose careers and research we helped launch. AAUW has supported the work of women who have changed the way the world thinks about physics and chemistry, the effects of pesticides, the psychological development of girls, and the profound harm bullying can cause. Our groundbreaking research explores why women are paid less than men, the prevalence and harm of sexual harassment and bullying, why so few girls consider careers in science and math, and how schools shortchange girls. Our research sparks national dialogues, and our recommendations are implemented across the country. AAUW delivers the nation's top student leadership conference, attracting thousands of women over the decades. And on hundreds of campuses, AAUW provides salary negotiation workshops, mentor matches, and trainings to encourage women to run for student government and public office. Our community services include school-based reading programs, hands-on science camps for girls, and programs to help girls get to college. Our advocacy victories span nearly a century, from the fight for women's suffrage to the Civil Rights Act, Title IX, the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, and the Violence Against Women Act. We are watchdogs advising people in positions of power on our priority issues: fair pay, safe schools and communities, high-quality affordable education, and equal opportunity. AAUW fights for these issues at the federal level, and our 1,000 branches carry on the fight at the state and local levels. AAUW's strategic legal case support helps people who have been unfairly paid, sexually assaulted, or denied a job or an education. By supporting precedent-setting cases, AAUW works to protect everyone from facing these terrible acts in the future. Our members believe in the power of our community to bring about positive change in our country and around the world. I hope you will join us as we continue to empower women and girls. You can become a member or make a donation to support our work by visiting aauw.org or by calling 800-326-2289. Thank you.